Chelsea in their famous home strip of blue. Perth Glory in their third away strip, actually. Playing tonight is in this Chelsea side. Hudson-Odoi will play alongside Ross Buckley and Pedro in that midfield. Alvaro Morata leads the front line.
Yeah, they certainly have, and it's quite interesting to see. They were so expansive in the Serie A, which is notoriously a quite bland league. So it'll be very interesting to see the way he adapts it, especially with the pace of the Premier League. And straight away they've gone into really wide areas and looking to move the ball around.
David Luiz. Jorginho involved in midfield. Hudson-Odoi. First possession for Perth, but they lose it just as quickly. Here's Alonso. Another on the fringes of that Spain squad for the 2018 World Cup, but missed out. Luiz sees the pass flicked on there. Shane Lowry, who is one of the three at the back. They'll play the wing backs tonight, Chris. It'll be interesting to see the back three.
They're generally quite big, but Glory actually match up quite well at that set play in terms of the size. So it's definitely an advantage that Perth Glory will want to play into.
On the bench, who missed out a recent match against Guelph, Croatia in State League encounter that Perth Glory won 6-1 from memory. And Matt Fabregas plays it short. Pedro. Hudson-Odoi lets the touch go away. Here's Jorginho, who was such a star at Napoli under Sarri. And there was so much speculation he'd be hit. Tumbling rain. Here's Barkley. A number of big names missing out on this tour, of course.
No, they were fantastic, and it just shows you the wealth of talent that, you know, a club the size of Chelsea, they've got all their World Cup players still having the time they deserved off, but they can still roll out the likes of Luiz and Fabregas and Pedro and still...
A roll call of players who've made the World Cup final all the way back to 1998. Marcel Desailly and Frank Leboeuf. William Gallas in 2006 on the losing end of that final. France against Italy. Claude Makélélé and André Schürrle and Giroud and Conte in the class of 2018. So,
and obviously Gallas, Grayson is in the A-League for a while.
It's a real pity because it is a 60,000 sellout, but it's not quite sold out. Some of the fans have been rejecting the weather conditions.
Over in the west, that the weather is good and we can play when it's 16 degrees, it's freezing. But yeah, it has been really, really heavy with quite heavy fronts coming through. But for me, I think it's going to benefit Chelsea.
Looking to have another big season with Perth Glory. Neville under pressure. Guerrero joins in. Alonso wins the ball back. Barkley. Hudson-Odoi. Another good moment here for Chelsea. Square he goes. Morata. Is he fouled? No, says referee Sean Evans. Interested to see whether he can integrate as a support player, I suppose. If they get the likes of Gonzalo Higuain and they retain Morata, he's going to be top heavy. And
it's a great opportunity with all these boys on their rest break. He gets a start, he gets an opportunity, and you know, first 15-20 minutes, I think he's been excellent and really, really caused Glory. You know, he's the one that's causing them all the problems at the moment. It certainly shows early on because they look like they're in full flight.
Here's Fabregas. Jorginho, Aaron Moore's Huddersfield in their first match of the Premier League season. And that's no soft landing away from home.
Huddersfield in December, and it's a bit rushing down. It makes the rain look like it's nothing here, mate.
You would have played a few times at Luton Town.
Oh, yeah.
Against Huddersfield. It's a good angle.
Is that a Della Sport? They've got to sell that every single morning.
Yeah.
All they're talking about is football, football, football. So he'll be used to that pressure and that speculation. And being in the south of Italy, where he's been now with Napoli for what was a poor year for me last year.
Ross Barkley to Hudson-Odoi, combining with Alonso. See how high the fullbacks get. Jorginho just recirculate through Fabregas. And remember that Arsenal also have Unai Emery.
Yeah, time will tell, Bash, won't it? I mean, offside rules have changed, and then we all stop worrying about them, and then, you know, over time it might evolve. I'm not sure, but Arsenal can keep giving it back, which is a shame because he works so hard to win the ball back there. But that's why these boys are playing at the level they're playing at, because their decision making is very good most of the time.
Well, it's friendly by name, but it's steep learning curve by nature for both sets of players. Really, for Chelsea, they need to integrate a system that is vastly different.
Tension that we're looking at now, they keep giving it back. That's just going to highlight it, and that'll give them a lot to work with, a lot of positives moving forward for me when they've got such a long pre-season.
I'm sure this would fact that both Courtois and Caballero, that number 1 and 2 goalkeepers for Chelsea, aren't in the squad. They've got 3 very young, inexperienced glovemen involved.
And winning the ball back high, and the back four squeezing the game really tight. But I think they've just got to take a little bit more care of the ball.
Hudson-Odoi's got a lovely change of pace. Jorginho, Alonso provides that excellent whip from the left.
They've certainly worked hard defensively to get into a good shape, and they've actually kept Chelsea at bay for the last 15 minutes after what was an impressive start from Chelsea. But
David Luiz tries to thread the needle. Kilkenny has broken up many a Chelsea attack in this match. Jovic can't find a way through. That was a riskily a stark absentee from the World Cup with Holland. From that point of view, it was a transitional World Cup. We saw some big names out early in Germany, and Argentina followed, and Brazil as well. 3 big names that opened the door for Croatia to make the final against France. Herrera did enough. Pedro. And from memory, Pedro. Good body position there by Scott Neville. Can't retain any type of possession. Perth
certainly can't, and I think that's got to be due to the presence of Chelsea and the way that they're forcing numbers forward. You know, Fabregas and Barkley are playing just in those pockets as 2 10s. Murata's Kim Franjic and allowing Zabacosta to then get out the outside of him, and they're really engaging. Glory have only got Wilson and Kilkenny, but it's like they've got 4 men against them when Murata's dropping in to join in as well. So it's a tough gig for the midfield two of Glory there. They're covering a lot of distance, and
what can they learn other than defensive shape against a greater credential team in transition? What will they be looking to achieve?
I just think it's the pace. A lot of the times, especially in Australia, I find the kids watch too much TV and they see the highlight reels. They don't see the game in full, and they miss a lot of the 1%ers that these players. I think that gets lost on players at time. You know, in Australia, they try and do the hard things before they do the easy things well. So I think there's so much for these young boys. You know, young Jake Italiano under Conte, who stifled, I think, the way that they played. Obviously, you got Hazard that comes into them areas, and that maybe suited him a little bit better. But he is a good footballer. He's got 2 great feet. He's dynamic. He can get at players as well as pass the ball. So he's a real exceptional talent, and he's still a young player.
What do you think he'll do up top? Do you think he'll retain Giroud? There's plenty of talk that the World Cup winner won't be at Stamford Bridge next season.
Yeah, it's a tough one. You know, he's not. Yes, he has scored goals, but he's not an out. Got in a few times. Lowry's having to cover. Murata's got in, so it's looks like there's more pressure that's building up, more chances Chelsea are actually creating.
Jorginho's had a good start in Chelsea colours. Wilson's on the right. Well, it's a different type of pressure, Maurizio Sarri. You mentioned all the pressure that comes with coaching Napoli, but I think there's an extra expectation when you...
Karpin's still showing the door because he didn't like what he was seeing every Saturday when he was taking his friends to watch the game, and he's ruthless. He's ruthless, and you know that expectation level, I think it comes from...
They've lost possession just as quickly, Perth. Hudson-Odoi, played in by Morata. May fancy a shot here. Jorginho
there, and we're talking about learning curves and what you're going to get from this. It's fine wanting to go one way. The 1%ers in football are tracking your runners and doing the hard yards going the other way, and he was massive for Glory last year. He did really carry the can at times in terms of breaking things up and trying to get things started. So it's good to see him fit and raring to go after what was a dip. Yeah, he's a big part. You know, you need leaders on the pitch, and someone with his experience at both international and club level in Europe. He's a big player, and he'll get stronger and stronger. And you've got to remember, this is the first real hit out that Glory have had in anger yet. So it's certainly early days for them.
Yeah, they've got Castro only really actually going through the season with all the travel and issues they've had in the past.
Yeah, potentially, but then you can look at it from the other aspect and say, do you know what, I need that experience to implement to the game, and the way that Chelsea are pressing and closing down with good numbers as well in midfield. So that just might be the start that they need to start putting their foot on the ball a little bit and just
makes a good run. Again, that pace and precision, but this time it doesn't come off. Pereira tries to spark something, but loses possession just as quickly to Jorginho. Recirculated down the
minutes of the game, and he's bombing up and down that right flank like he owns it. So it's going to be a long day for that Glory left-hand side, because he is covering some distance and at great speed as well.
Glory defence was ragged, to say the least. Italiano tries to turn his man.
Dragon centre halves out of position. It's Dragon wide players everywhere, and they're really exposing them in them little pockets in behind the midfield.